Flatulence is a state of mind.
Hello, welcome to episode 84 of Chet and John's Reassuringly Finite Gaming Playlist. My name's John Denton, with me as always Chet Roivas.
Hello.
So you know the deal, or maybe you don't. It's two top 10 lists. I've got a list, Chet's got a list. We go from 10 to 1, going back and forth. 10 being the game we played the least this week, 1 being the game we played the most this week. Enough from me. Let's kick it off, Chet.
Okay, right. My number 10 is a game called I Want It on the Xbox 360. It's an indie game and it's the latest release from Silver Dollar Games.
How did they do a game a week?
They seem to be doing it at the moment. But I mean, if you listen to the show regularly, you'll know this already. They made One Finger Death Punch, one of the best games of the year. It hasn't sold very well, so they've over the past 3 weeks, I've spoken about Cooties. I can't remember what the rest of the title was, which I quite liked, but I can imagine some people not liking. And then last week, I think they released what's almost certainly their worst game in the shape of, I can't even remember what it was called. Do you?
No. I remember it was their worst game, but I can't remember what it was called either.
It was pretty much an embarrassment, and I said I would like to try and defend it because I like what they do so much, but I couldn't. Anyway, whatever that was called. Their new game is called I Want It, and it's far worse than the one I spoke about last week. The Heckler, that was it.
That's right.
Because that had a good idea, it was badly executed. This has no ideas, and it's not... Here's what happens. You start the game... There's footage of a mother standing next to a child and a prompt to press A. So you press A and there's a very bad audio recording. I mean, it sounds like the microphone's up against 10 computers, so it's hissing and there's like feedback and reverb and stuff, of a child asking his mother for something. And then it asks you to press A again, and it's another recording, this bad recording of a child saying something. It's a very young child, so you can't understand what it's saying. And then it keeps doing that several times, and then the mum says, all right. And then it starts again, and you press the button, and it's a bad recording. That goes on for around 90 seconds, and then a panel comes up saying, few people will ever complete this game. Care to try? With the option to buy the game. Now, I'd like to believe that after you buy the game, something amazing happens. But given their track record of late, I think it's just a game where you press a button and hear a baby speak. Mm. Oh, I don't know what to say. It's fucking... I mean, it's an abomination. It's not a game. I'm really sorry. It's shit.
Dear oh dear. Go and buy One Finger Death Punch, for God's sake.
Go and buy One Finger Death Punch. And vote for it on Steam Greenlight. It's doing terribly on there as well, which is a mystery. I don't get it, but yeah.
It is a mystery.
I Want It. Don't go anywhere near it.
Right. Okay. Talking of things that small children want, I downloaded Lego Marvel Superheroes, the demo, on PlayStation 3, because my little fella's into Spider-Man and Iron Man. He doesn't know who they are or what they are, but he likes saying the words and jumping up and down, which is basically all he does at the moment, apart from jet-propelled shit on the carpet earlier, which is what my day's been. Yeah, nice. Anyway, Lego Marvel Superheroes. I haven't really played, as we've talked about in the past, many of the Lego games, but I'm aware of all of them and how much better they've got over the years, especially the last few. You know, that's what you've said anyway, and it certainly seems that way from my perception. This seems to be continuing that path. The demo, I don't know if is it later on your list, or did you miss out on this one?
I had no idea there was even a demo out. No.
Perfect. So it's just the opening level of the game. You start off as Iron Man and the Hulk. You do kind of standard Lego game stuff, bash some things, assemble some Lego, and there's puzzles where the Hulk can pick stuff up and smash it. Iron Man can fire missiles to break down certain bits. You know, the types of puzzles where you jump between the characters. Yeah. Bit later on, Spider-Man turns up. He can pull stuff down with his webs. It's all done really well. It looks really nice. It almost looks kind of like they're pushing towards next-gen type of tech. It looks like a kind of PC game, and because of that, the resolution's a little lower, but some of the effects that they use are really nice. It seems like it's going to be... They've kind of updated their engine, perhaps. The whole level is taking on the Sandman, and he's pulling stuff out of sand, but it's all Lego. It looks really fucking cool. It looks like kind of the stuff that was in Spider-Man 3 with the Sandman, but done in Lego. It's all done really well, and everything about it just has that Lego-y charm. It's just good. It's not the most complex and this is obviously just based on the demo, but it's not the most complex or fulfilling game you'll ever play. But everything about it just made me smile, and I think it's going to be another polished, smart, and fun game from their stable, which is no surprise.
Was there any were the cutscenes in it?
Yeah, they're fully voiced and they were quite amusing. Nothing laugh out loud funny, but they're all good.
Oh, great. Yeah, okay, well, I'm looking forward to that because it sounds like they're going the same route as Lego Batman 2. It's sandbox as well, is it?
I'm not sure. This level was linear, so I don't know. I genuinely don't know the answer to that question.
Okay. Well, because, Lego Batman 2 was a sandbox, but there were linear sections in it, but it was basically a sandbox, and you could pick different characters, fly around with Superman and stuff. But, I've no doubt that's great. Out soon, then, I take it, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. Again, as always, come to us for the information, but I assume in the next couple of weeks.
All right. I'm looking forward to that, then.
Very nice, yeah.
My number 9 is a game called Demon Dash on the Xbox 360. It's another Xbox Live indie game. I was trying to free up space and I found this. I realised I'd downloaded it several weeks or maybe months ago. And I was expecting a choose your own adventure style text thing because the box art is like a goth woman with a choker, and I thought it was going to be like a horror game. It's actually not. It's an incredibly fast-paced scrolling shoot 'em up. You're this girl on the left of the screen sprinting along, and she's like a goth with like dark eye makeup and like thigh high leather boots and stuff. And all you can do is run, jump, and shoot, and it moves so quickly. It's got a soundtrack by some metal band called Kill It With Fire. I don't think they're famous or anything, but it's constant metal music playing throughout it. And the enemies are quite dull, traditional like flaming skulls and devils and cars on fire and stuff. It's fine. It's like a really hectic shooter. It's not particularly sophisticated in terms of the mechanics because you are literally jumping, shooting, ducking occasionally. But I don't know. Having metal screamed in your face and just being sort of taxed on your skills of reaction times. Just having your reaction times tested for. It's really difficult, and I really was sort of eager to get further on into it, but it's so hard. So it's 80 Microsoft points. It's fine. I mean, I don't know if I'd fork out for the whole version. I had a lot of fun with the trial though. But after I'd played it, I looked up the guy that had made it. It's a one person job by a guy called Curtis, who has a studio called Darkgate Studios, or that's what he says. And I think I somehow ended up in a forum where these XBlig developers were having a conversation about XBlig, and somebody made a really good point, and I never thought about this. Ever since Microsoft have started using real money, now they're no longer forcing you to buy chunks of money. The chump change that everyone spent on XBlig games is not there anymore.
Good point. Yeah.
So a couple of people were saying the sales of my games have fucking plummeted since the real money came into play. I never really considered that. Sorry, that was completely unrelated, but it did make me think. Fuck, that's probably doing them no favours at all.
Yeah, because that's when I bought most of my indie games when I had to spare. You just got to spare like a weird 110 points or something. There's not really anything you can do with it. Yeah. That's good. That is interesting. Demon Dash sounds alright.
It's fine. Demon Dash. It's totally fine. Enjoyable. I liked it.
Okay, this one's going to be hard for me to explain, I think, but I'll give it a go anyway. My number 9 is the Stanley Parable. In fact, it's the demo version. Now, we're recording on Thursday, and the main game came out today, but I knew I wasn't going to have time to play it properly, so I'm going to get the full game and do it for next week. But the demo is worth talking about because it's completely separate from the main game. And do you know anything about this at all?
I saw the Eurogamer review, didn't read it, and I saw someone else mention it. So I'm aware of it, but I don't know what it is.
Sure. So originally it was a Half-Life 2 mod, I believe, a couple of years ago, and then the guy's done like an HD reimagining of it. I'd never played the Half-Life 2 mod. I'd heard the name before. The demo itself it's really hard to explain. The game's a first-person kind of, one of those walking story-type games. There's not really any interaction. Yeah. And in the demo, it is you go into an office, and it's basically the game is narrating to you the machinations of video game demos, and you go into a room and you go into like little corridors, and it's like the emotion section, and by this, I can't exactly remember the different rooms, in fact, but this is why it is hard to explain. All of it's done with a kind of sense of whimsy, and it's pretty funny. Occasionally, I felt it disappearing up its own arse a little bit, but not too bad. And it's all very fourth wall breaking, self-referential. It's very clever and quite funny. And what was the most intriguing thing about it, and how it really worked as a demo, is it makes you think, well, what the hell is this game? Because it's not this. This was a self-contained 10 to 15 minute little thing, which was well worth playing on its own. But the game itself, everything I read about it is like, don't read anything about this game. Don't listen to anything about this game. Just play it. I know it's about choices. I don't know much more about it. I'm like I said, I'm definitely going to get it. But yeah, in terms of a demo, I mean, the amount of work it must have been just to make this demo must have been huge. But probably worth it. And certainly, I'm glad I played it. And if it had been a normal demo, I might not have. But everyone was banging on, oh, you have to play this. So I was like, yeah, I will. And intrigued. And the full game's I think it's only $7.99 this week, which seems very reasonable for what the game. Like, it looks really nice. You know, it feels like a kind of Gone Home level of fidelity to it. So yeah, I'm excited by what it is. I still don't really know. So yeah, next week.
PC only, is it?
Don't know. Yes, it is. It is, because I checked on my Mac, in fact, to see if it was Mac, and it is just PC only at the moment.
All right. Okay. Is that a great technique, using a completely unrelated demo to try and?
I think probably not for many games, but for this, I mean, the game itself is going to be the same first-person thing. I think a lot of it might be set in an office. I don't really know, but I think tonally it's going to be very similar. But it's not a sampler of the actual game, if that makes any sense. It's like a standalone.
That's weird. Yeah.
But the game is extremely weird. Extremely weird.
All right. Okay, so you'll have played it by next week then?
Yeah, I'm planning on buying it pretty much tomorrow. Yeah. All right.
Fair play. Okay. All right, my number 8 is another PC game, although it's also available on Mac. It's a game called Keepalive. I wasn't going to mention this, primarily because I think I've got off on the wrong foot with it. It's like the game I mentioned, I think it was last week. It was the iOS game, was it? Breach and Clear. I think I just got off on the wrong foot with it, intended to go back. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, this is the game that's like a riff on Friday the 13th and stuff. Is that right?
Like 80 slasher movies, yeah. A friend told me about it, and it sounded like the greatest game, because it's a top-down strategy, turn-based strategy game. And it's retro-styled. It looks like an Atari game, and there's a great chip tune soundtrack. And basically, yeah, the concept is really brilliant. You basically have to sort of take control of these camp attendants, and they're so callous and self-absorbed that they're just such dummies that you basically can't leave them to their own devices. So you have to herd them around like sheep and get them back to the cabin, while all these animals and monsters are sort of parading around outside. The problem that I had with it is that I don't think it's been optimised for Mac, and I kept trying to do things and it wasn't working. I tried using the keys, I tried using the mouse, and things. My interactions with it made me think it was something other than what it was. I mean, because it explains itself in great detail. There's a lot of text at the beginning, which again I don't think is brilliant, but at least I felt like I knew where I was when I started playing the game. I mean, I persevered for half an hour, maybe more, which is a hell of a long time to go on with something that's not clicking with you. I'll go back to it because it seems like such a great idea, and it's a turn-based top-down strategy game, the likes of which I haven't. I think many more games should be presented like that. But it just wasn't working. I don't know. I was selecting these characters, and they have these powers to try and herd these kids back to the cabin. But and you'd use one move, and then everyone would. I don't know. It basically, my experience with it was one where I felt like I was fighting against the game, and I don't know whether that was my fault for being stupid or whether the game just doesn't run properly on a Mac. We'll go back to it though. So pointless mentioning it, but there you go.
Yeah, that's a shame then. It doesn't sound quite as good as it's...
I wouldn't take anything I've just said. I mean, right. The thing is, I don't know... I felt like I read... It's pages and pages of text. And I was like, okay, I've got it. And then I start, and then I'm like, I haven't got it at all. Everything's going wrong. And I don't know whether it was me or it was the game, because it felt like it was broken. But again, I shouldn't have mentioned it, but I ran out of stuff. So there we go.
Sure. All right. We're still intrigued then.
Yeah, I'd say have a look, just in case it's just me being an idiot. But
yeah, that's definitely a possibility.
No doubt.
My number 8 is Touch My Katamari. I think it's called that. I've written that down on my page, and then suddenly I thought maybe it's not called that. Anyway, it's the PlayStation Vita Katamari game that's currently on PS Plus.
All right.
I don't really have a huge amount to say. It's okay, but who cares anymore? Really, it's Katamari. It's just the same game. It was kind of cool when those games first came out back on the PS2 era. They weren't really like anything else, obviously. They're very funny. The way you interacted with them was cool, and all the way the Katamari scaled up from being a tiny little dot to the thing that can suck up buildings was really cool technically at the time. That's not really the case anymore. This just feels like a game that I've played 3 or 4 times already. It has way too much waffle. You're talking about pages of text in the previous game. This is like, it's fucking Katamari. It's fucking rolling a ball about. I know what it is. It's like the 19th version. And it's just reams and reams of bollocks chatter between the King of all Cosmos and the Little Prince. And it's like, I've fucking done this, man. Everyone's done this. You wouldn't be getting it on Vita if you hadn't done this. So, man, it drives me mad. You can't even skip it. You have to just like slowly X your way through it. When you finally do get into the game, the only changes I could tell from other Katamari games is that you can kind of use the touchscreen to drag your Katamari into a flat rolling pin shape almost, or squeeze it into a tall one, but it didn't seem to, even the way it looked, it just kind of looked like it had been done in some kind of post effect on the screen. Like if you get a JPEG in Photoshop and just drag it left and right without doing it from the corner, and it just stretches everyone to look like, or you're watching in the olden days when you watch a 4:3 program but stretched out to a widescreen TV and everyone just looks fat. It kind of looked like that. It didn't look like it was actually supposed to be happening. It's fucking fine. I don't really have anything bad to say about it. Rolling up the things, get the things, the music's playing. It's fine, but I was done after 25 minutes, definitely.
That whole Katamari thing kind of passed me by. The first one I played for any real significant length of time was one that was deemed to be the one where it all went to shit. I think it was on the 360.
Yeah, that wasn't very good.
Yeah, so the appeal of it, I never really got to see it when it was at its best. So, I
think only the first 2 are really any good. I mean, this isn't bad at all. Like I said, it really isn't. But that is a very limited idea, and I don't think it really warrants that many games.
That many full price games as well. Even the 360 one, I remember thinking you wouldn't pay 40 quid for this, although that's what they were asking for it at the beginning.
But at least it was on Plus, and still is. So get it obviously if you've got Plus, because why not?
Why not indeed? Okay, my number 7 is a game called Orc Attack: Flatulent Rebellion on the Xbox 360.
Bringing the thunder this week.
Also available on PSN and PlayStation 3, and it's on Steam Greenlight, so go and vote for it if you want to see it on the PC. I mean, it's absolutely every bit as shit as it sounds. It's a 4-player cooperative hack and slash game. You play as 4 orcs. Well, they're called like Sir Niff, and one of them's called Doc Turd and Lord Poo and Friar Crap. And you're just like, brilliant. To be honest, when they introduced those characters, I was like, all right, if you just keep throwing really crass gags, I might quite enjoy this. But it's just, I don't know, I don't understand it. It's a third-person action game where you run around and you hit things. The first thing that happens is that they point out that there's a light and a heavy attack, so you hit a load of people. And then after you've killed about 20 people, the same people come out, but they've got shields, and it says, hit them with the heavy attack, and then you'll knock their shield away, and then hit them with the light attack. And you're like, wow, yeah, okay, I've never done this. In the cutscenes, there's terrible screen tearing on the 360, and in the game, the frame rate is an absolute abomination. I mean, the funny thing about it is that the way it looks... and the way it plays, and the way I imagine it plays on local co-op, because it's 4-player co-op. I don't know if there is multiplayer, so I assume it's online co-op as well. But the way almost everything about it truly is not far off a Nintendo 64 game.
Really?
Just I can imagine playing it a 4-player split screen, but just the sloppy and the narrow way the world's assembled, and the way that sometimes the camera's free and then other times it's just locked for no apparent reason. You're running around, and when you hit people, you run up. Your gas meter goes up, and periodically you come across bonfires. And I was like, oh great! I thought it was a piss take of Dark Souls. You know, rather than going and kneeling beside a bonfire, you fart on it, and then everyone around you sort of freezes in, I think, shit. I don't know. They turn into brown statues, and then you whack them. But it's not a save point. It's just nothing. It's so rubbish. It's like a game I spoke about a few months ago, called Scourge Outbreak. I can't believe I remember that fucking title. That's unbelievable. But it's just a game where you're just like, who is this for? This was no. I don't know why does this exist. I mean, really, in a really intense, like, why does this exist? This was not someone's vision to make this. I don't know how this got through a production stage.
I don't know. I don't know. Do people still like toilet humour?
Well, I like it if it's funny. I mean, to be honest, I smirked once, but it's just the game is so badly made and cheaply made. And there's another thing. There's an evasive roll manoeuvre where you press RB and roll out of the way. Every single time I did that throughout the entirety of the demo, which was the best part of half an hour, I'm ashamed to admit, it would come. A message would come up on the screen that I didn't understand. It would say, "Take a break from RB, press RB to roll." I was like, I don't understand what that means. And every time you did it, this big message that would take up a massive portion of the screen came up saying, "Take a break from RB, press RB to roll." And I'm like, I mean, it's truly awful, and it's a game with orcs in it. And when I say that, what I mean is everything is exactly as you'd expect. The visuals, the music, the sound effects. If you took 100 people off the street, if you found 100 people that had played a video game, quote unquote, have you ever played a game? Okay. Put those 100 people in the room and ask them to title this game. Every single one of them would put the word orc in it. Not because there's orcs in it, but because it just looks like a game with orcs in it. I mean, it's rubbish. They do something really snide as well. You know, if you look at a trial game, some of the features are locked off, and they say, buy the game if you want to experience this. They lock off everything that's not the campaign, so you can't see the leaderboards. Buy the full game, so you can't see if anyone's bought it. But if you go back to the dashboard, there isn't a single rating on the game, and it's been out for a week. So it would not surprise me in the slightest if not a single person has bought this. And I mean, it's terrible. It's fucking terrible. I mean, honestly, it's worth looking at just to see how is this in this day and age. How is this out there? And for like £7 or whatever, how?
Jesus.
I mean, it's terrible.
What's it called again?
Orc Attack: Flatulent Rebellion.
I don't understand.
I'll tell you what, if you play it and talk about it next week, try and tell me how this happened. I mean, how did it happen?
I will try and actually do that.
Who put the money up for it? I don't understand.
I don't understand. I don't understand anything anymore.
No, me neither. I've lost everything.
My number 7 is a game that I'd heard about quite a lot but hadn't been able to find for good reason. It's called Pivvot, and the reason I couldn't find it is because it's got 2 V's in it. I don't know why, but I just kept hearing Pivot, and for some reason, even people who must have written it down, where I must have heard most of it, for some reason my brain just turned 2 V's into 1 V. I don't know why. But yeah, then I finally read, it's got 2 V's, found it straight away. This is a iOS game. It's in the vein of Super Hexagon, definitely. That's the easy touchstone. You play as a line, I guess, with a kind of dot on it, and you travel along, I guess you call it a road. It's a 2D squiggle, basically, is what you travel along. Kind of like those buzzing machine games with the twiddly, you try and
You're holding like a metal hook. Yeah, right.
Yeah. I don't know what they're called, but the road's kind of like that. It scrolls along, and you can rotate, you can pivot the line, and with the idea being that you don't touch obstacles that come along the way. So you just pivot out of their way. You'll have a little square will come up, or it gets a bit more complicated. But there's little almost tunnels that you have to guide it through. So you just have to have the thing at the right angle to get past the obstacles, basically. It's actually kind of like Vib Ribbon. It doesn't play like it, but you're going along a line and avoiding obstacles. It doesn't play like Vib Ribbon. I shouldn't have even brought it up. Anyway, it's fine. One thing it does do. The first mode is called Voyage, I believe. There's loads of different modes, but the first one's called Voyage, and it's basically trying to get to the end of the game, which probably takes in total about 10 minutes, and it calculates how many times you died. So I think I did it first time with like 85 deaths or something like that. And every time you get to the end of I think you have to dodge 4 sets of obstacles, and then you get to the next checkpoint, effectively. But every time you get to the next checkpoint, the music changes, so it might adds another layer onto the tune, and it's that kind of electronic music. It's fine. The game is good. It is a good game. But when you're comparing it to Super Hexagon, it's just it's like one of those things where everyone goes, it's like Street Fighter, or it's like Halo, or it's like it is, but it's also very much not like that, because Super Hexagon is basically perfect, and this just isn't that. It just isn't as good. It's fine, but it just isn't that level. It felt like a kind of distraction. I can't even really see me going back to it. I probably played it for throughout the week, maybe 90 minutes or something like that. So I gave it a decent amount of time, not in one sitting, but Super Hexagon I still have on my phone, however long that game's been out. I can't see this sitting on my phone that much longer, even though it's fine. It's kind of fine but unremarkable, because you've played... It's difficult because you haven't played it before, but you haven't played it before. I don't think I'm doing a particularly great job of explaining myself, but it's just fine. I think people maybe have a tendency to get a little bit overexcited on iOS games when something's fun for 10 minutes, because it's easy, because you could just jump on Twitter, talk about it, and then that creates a swell. The games are cheap. But only very few of them have genuine lasting power, and I can't see this being one of them.
Why did you say that Pivvot... I mean, Pivvot does have 1V, doesn't it?
In real life?
Yeah, right, okay. Well, how the hell did you figure out there was 2?
I think I've just finally saw someone who'd written it down and actually looked at it properly, I think, because I read very fast. I tend to just see the beginning and ends of words and let my brain fill in the rest. So when something like that happens, I quite often miss it.
All right. Is it free?
No, it was. I think it was either £1.50 or maybe even a couple of quid. Yeah, it's priced in the same way Super Hexagon was. It's definitely just trying to be that. Okay. They've thought, what can we do with this and make it different? And to be fair, that's probably about the best that you could do. I don't want to be down on it. If Super Hexagon's like a strong 9, this is like a sort of middling 6 to 7.
Oh, right, okay.
But it's still good.
All right, cool. I was going to check that out because I was searching for it, and I never thought to try 2Vs, obviously. But
why would you?
Exactly. Well, I might have a look. I might look into it anyway. Okay, my number 6 is The Wolf Among Us on the Xbox 360.
Yeah, I've been meaning. I really want to play this, but I just haven't had a chance yet.
Yeah, this is a bit of a funny one because basically I hated it because I loved it so much. It's just I'm in a situation where I don't need more games to play. I really don't. And the demo is so good that you're just like, I have to play this at some point, and I'm just like, don't be a bastard. I really didn't need this. What I'll probably do is wait until they all come out together, because then I don't have to wait for the other episodes. So you haven't even tried the trial, no?
No, because for some reason, and people on Twitter might correct me if I'm wrong here, I wanted to play it on PC because I just figured that would be the best version. And you can only seem to buy the whole thing on PC, and I assumed it was going to be good, but I don't want to lay down 19 quid now just in case it's not, or it wasn't my cup of tea or whatever. I just wanted to try the first ep, and it seems that you can only buy the whole thing on Steam. I'm sure I'm wrong. I'm sure you can buy it individually, and I'm just being an idiot. But that was the reason, and also I didn't really have time. But I'm hearing great things. Yeah,
it's kind of annoying, that payment structure, just because I know when I bought The Walking Dead episode by episode, every month I was like, why didn't I just get the fecking season pass? But by then it was too late. Maybe I'll get the season pass for this. I don't know. Anyway, do you know anything about the source material?
I'd never heard of it before reading into it when the game came out.
Yeah, I mean, I knew nothing about it either. So going in, I'm just like, automatically, this is a brilliant idea. It's like characters from old fables and nursery rhymes and stuff living in this fable town. And they're governed over by this werewolf who's basically a policeman, and they have this glamour. Anyway, I don't want to spoil the concept because it's just a brilliant idea for a comic book and now a video game. The template is exactly the same. The gameplay template is exactly the same as The Walking Dead. So it's dialogue trees and QTEs and then some action. The action sequence, there's a very long fight scene in it. The centerpiece of the demo is a fight scene, and it's really good. It's based around the triggers and the thumbsticks, and it's much better than anything I saw in The Walking Dead.
Okay.
Really good. So, I mean, it's really convincing that the action scenes will be every bit as good as they should be in comparison to the other elements. There's still, I mean, the engine that they use is still really problematic. There's awkward pauses and long loading times, and there's stuttery visuals occasionally. So it does feel old hat, as gorgeous as it looks, because it looks really, really nice. It's just basically a knockout. I was really pissed off because I was like, I really don't have the time for this.
Yeah, you wanted it to be shit.
I wanted it to be like, oh yeah, it looks really great. I can set it aside. But it's, I mean, I'm just like, if I think I'm just so impressed with the concept and the way the action was. I was just like, God, this is like The Walking Dead, but potentially so much better.
Oh man!
And I'm seeing people on Twitter just saying, I've just finished it and it's fucking amazing. Episode 1. I'm gonna get it, but piss off.
Yeah, I'm the same. Less with the piss off. I'm going to try and find time.
Oh no, I will find time, but it's just like I don't have the money and I don't have the time.
Yeah,
so why are you doing this to me? But anyway, got it. I mean, just the demo. It's so immediately apparent that it's got to be played.
Yeah. Damn. Well, yeah, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time for me.
Same here.
But talking of worlds, which and concepts and whatnot and all that sort of stuff you said, I tried to do a segue then, but I'm in so much pain that I fell down halfway through. If you can hear creaking and crumbling, I've really hurt my back, so I'm fighting through. I'm trying to fight. Anyway, my number, whatever the fuck, number 5, 6,
yeah. 6
is Bioshock Infinite on PC. I, for some reason, just decided to just play this, and every time I stick it on, I always intend to just play it for about 2 minutes and end up like 90 minutes at least will go by. I still love it. I'm on my second playthrough. I'm right towards the end of my second playthrough now, and I really can't wait for the Burial at Sea DLC that's coming out very soon. I expect. Yeah. I know some people have played it. Today, it's coincidental that I brought this up on the day that someone's unleashed an 8,000 word slating of the game. I don't know if you'd heard this. It was like today's bollocks on Twitter happened to be that.
Yeah, briefly. I wondered what that was. Yeah.
I saw it linked. I started reading it. I don't even really want this to be about that. I just thought I'd mention it as I happened to notice. The guy hates the game, calls it the worst game of the generation, goes on to explain why, which is absolutely fine if that's what you think. And it seemed like he had some good arguments in there. But one, it's 8,000 words, and nothing's worth reading 8,000 words for. Yeah. And number 2, he just sort of prefaced the whole thing by saying, basically, why don't all reviewers are bad because it got loads of 10s? Why aren't there more 2s or something like that? And it's just like, well, it's just people saying what they thought of the game, you know. What are you asking for? Yeah. And then he went on very early on, just said about blah, 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 this is shit. And then he went on to the combat, and his first criticism of the combat was that it's all bluster. And I was like, that's not a criticism, isn't it? That doesn't mean anything. That's just noise. That's just a word that you've read and just repeated. That doesn't mean anything. And I'm not going to read another 7,900 words of that if that's your first criticism. Anyway, it might be good, it might be shit, I don't care. The game, I love the game. For me, a lot of the criticism that comes towards it, I get a lot of it. Stuff like eating out of the bins and whatnot. For me, that stuff doesn't really distract me from the game because I almost don't see that as part of what's happening within the game. I see that more as taking a step back and part of what's happening within the video game, but within the narrative of the game, I don't really see Booker diving through a bin or whatever. It doesn't, or what he finds. I just see those as gameplay systems that are there to serve the gameplay, whereas the story kind of overlaps it. It's stuff that I've been thinking about. I think I'm going to put all this down in words soon, but here's not the right place to explain it, mainly because I can't seem to even understand what I'm talking about. But I really like Bioshock Infinite. I see it more like a parable when people say the world's not convincing and all that sort of stuff. I say, well, I think it's more about being sucked into this very unusual and kind of unsettling in many ways story. Not unsettling in terms of its content, but it actually makes you feel unsettled because you never quite know where you are or what's happening. It's an absolutely gorgeous game on PC. I was really happy because I don't know if it's an update to the drivers of my graphics card or something, but one problem I had with this game and a few other games was that it looked great, but the frame rate would just stutter every now and then. It'd be smooth as anything, and then it would stutter, and that to me was worse than just playing it on 360. It's smooth at 30 frames per second or whatever. But I don't know what's happened to it. I loaded up again with new updated drivers, and it's smooth as anything on the higher settings. It looks the fucking business, and it's made me really happy to have the PC again. And just waiting for the DLC. And I still really like it, and I understand if people don't, but that's absolutely fine. But I haven't changed my mind.
Yeah, I loved it too, and yeah, it's weird that people do seem to get very angry about that game. They seem to get almost oppressed by other people liking it, and it's unusual. That where can I find this article? You have to tell me later because I need to read it.
It's all over Twitter. I'll find it and just send it to you.
Okay, I saw random comments about a review, and I was like, "Why is there a review of Bioshock?" Anyway, I couldn't find it. When is that DLC out?
I don't actually know. I know it must be soon because I know people flew over to Boston recently to play it for, I think, sort of last hands-on preview or something, and I think the achievements might be out as well. So it's definitely very soon.
All right. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. Okay, my number 5 is a game called Mega Dead Pixel on iOS. I played it on an iPhone. It's out today, Thursday, so it's out now, and it's free on the App Store. So check it out. I say Mega Dead Pixel. Have you played this?
No.
Really difficult to know what to say. I think we kind of touched upon this last week, but it's with iOS games. I would never want to review one at great length, partially because it's basically an endless runner, but what they call it is an endless faller, and it's a really neat game. But it's one of those games where after 5 seconds, I knew it was good. I was like, "This works. It's good. I can see this being a great time waster." And it's kind of pointless going into any more detail about it because it will engage you. It is really entertaining, and going for high scores is really fun. It's very simple. You're a white pixel falling from the top of the screen to the bottom, and you pass by all these weird shapes, and you have to skim past them. And once you've skimmed past a load of them, you become a megapixel, and you have this huge pixel, and then you crush into everything rather than skimming by them. Great. Smashing through them makes you smaller again, so you have to use it carefully, because if you smash through a load of stuff and there's more stuff underneath, you're dead. It's just a really, really great mechanic. What's clever about it is that it's kind of rendered in... It almost looks like a CRT TV screen with all these lines. So it looks like a grid, basically. Hold left of the screen and you move very quickly to the pixel moves very quickly to the left. Hold right and the opposite. But if you tap, they move from grid to grid to grid. So it's as these shapes are whizzing past you, you have to very quickly see that's, say, three lines away. Tap, tap, tap. And you're moving really quickly. It's free. It's really, really entertaining. I don't really want to go into a whole lot more detail. It's a really good electronic soundtrack. It's just a neat game. It's silly going into any more detail. It's just been very, very well designed. That's all you can say, really, and it's definitely worthy of your time.
It definitely sounds like my street. I like the idea of that kind of Burnout style, just skimming things. Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
They call it painting the shapes, and then you whip past them. It's judging. It's tap tap. But at first you're kind of dragging it along, and you're moving quite slowly. But then you tap tap. And every tap is the difference between life and death. It's really cool. I mean, and it's free, for God's sake.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm actually installing it right now.
Mega Dead Pixel.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Mega Dead Pixel. Yeah, free. All right, cool. My number 5 then is The Darkness 2, a game that you talked about on, I think, the very first episode of Chet and John's at the beginning of last year. I bought it on PC. I think it was in a Steam sale or one of their weekly sales or something. It was a £5, and I just bought it and I hadn't got around to playing it. And then I just remembered it was there when I turned the PC on. I was like, okay, I'll give it a go. I've got a little bit of time. And I was really impressed by what I played. It looks really nice on PC for starters. It has the kind of, I guess you call it cel shaded, but it's almost like graphic novel kind of art style, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And I kind of dug it. Basically, the game for me, I only played probably about 90 minutes worth. I really dug how fucking violent it was, and I know that makes me sound weird, but I'm not always, but like I fucking like stuff that's just fucking violent. I just do, and I don't mean it depends on the tone and the context of the violence, absolutely. And I don't like a lot of violence. I certainly don't like that whole genre of horror movie that came around in the last decade. Stuff, it doesn't do anything for me. But there's something about just eviscerating a bunch of fucking morons in a video game where it feels good, and it was just stress relief. It was coming at a stressful day. People have been winding me up in the internet as always, and this was just like some of the best stress relief I played in the game, but also it was much more than that. It was I liked the way the story was being told. I loved the Goodfellas style restaurant scene at the beginning, which turns into shit. I mean, that's just a great opening. Everything about it was done. You've seen it before in films, but it was just done well. The voice acting was good, and the combat. I'm playing on a pad on PC, and I like the way that you're in control of the kind of tentacle arms on the. Is it on the bumpers and then on the triggers? You've got your two guns and. Everything about it was fun. Just like pull this guy in half, chuck this thing, chuck a car door through this guy. I just really liked it. I thought it was cool, and I definitely will keep playing it.
Wicked. I mean, yeah. Sorry, go on.
I was actually going to say, and also the game it reminded me most of was one of my favourite shooters, certainly single-player shooters ever, if not in years, which is Bulletstorm. Yeah. The fact that it had score combos and stuff. It wasn't afraid to be a video game at the same time as aping films. It didn't really feel like it needed to hide that fact. It was happy to be a game as well. I like games that are just happy to be what they are. And, it reminded me of Bulletstorm, another brilliant game, a truly brilliant game.
Yeah, I will go back to The Darkness 2 at some point because I loved it so much. And as you progress and get more powerful, and just it is like a kind of game like Bulletstorm in that you're using all of your powers together and you feel like an absolute monster. And I think I know what you mean about the violence. It is very bloody, but it's also because. It's so your character deserves to be fucking furious at everybody. Yeah. So you kind of you do want to just destroy. I mean, it's a brilliant game. The storytelling gets more and more out there as it goes on. But I just think the fact that it's a game about him, also about him mourning this lost love of his, is really well. Honestly, I don't want to say anything further, but it's a really well told story as well. And you don't often get that in shooters. Well, you do. You actually do get it more often in shooters than a lot of games. With
probably true, actually. Yeah.
But it's a fantastically underrated game, and I think even if you haven't played the first one, or I don't know, I just say play that game. Are you going to continue with it?
Absolutely, yeah. I'd always intended to play it ever since you first brought it up, and then basically I kept seeing it in shops, 20 quid, 25 quid, and I was just waiting. And when I saw $5, I was like, yeah, perfect. And it looks, 1080p, 60 frames a second. It's annoying when people say that about PC, but it does. It's fucking great, to be honest, in this situation. I mean, it really is. It run on the highest settings, smooth as fuck. Just a happy guy.
Nice one. Okay, well, that game's amazing, and it only gets better. So, yeah, check that out.
Yeah, if there's someone else that I know, Steve from Video Games, Steve Burns, he bangs on about one level in it, which is like one of the best levels ever. He calls it. I don't. He doesn't say anything more than that, but I'm excited to see what that might be.
Tell me when you find out, because I thought the whole thing was just consistently brilliant. But yeah, all right.
Cool.
Nice one. Okay, well, my number 4 is Halo 3 on the Xbox 360.
Games on gold. Games with gold. Games with gold. Gold games. I don't know.
Golden games. This was supposed to be free about 6 years ago when they first announced it, and they probably shit themselves. I'd love to know what the reasoning behind that was. I do wonder why they said Halo 3, and it was like, okay, that's cool. That'd be nice to go back to that, and then they left it several months. Maybe it's because that's the only significant game. I mean, that is the only significant game there's been, apart from Assassin's Creed 2, if you count that, which I don't. So it's basically trying to keep people waiting for this, and now it's going to sort of peter out into jack shit. So I'm kind of interested to see what next month's free games are, because it couldn't get any worse. This is going to be almost certainly the highlight. Anyway, I was quite looking forward to playing Halo 3 again. My friends weren't quite so enthusiastic. To be fair, actually, a couple in the world, when I told them it was free, they're like, yeah, wicked, Halo 3 night. And I was like, yeah, great. Anyway, I downloaded it yesterday, which when it first became available, and me and a friend downloaded it together in a party while we were chatting, and then we booted it up together. It was like, well, yeah, Halo 3. And we made a joke. We were joking about, oh, God, I bet the guys that have never stopped playing this are rubbing their hands together going, oh, well, the noobs are coming back. And that was we laughed about that. That's exactly what happened. And I'm telling you, it ain't funny. It was horrible. I've never been so... I've still got these games for gold golden games on my hard drive, despite the fact that Dead Rising 2 and Assassin's Creed, I'm never, I think I deleted Assassin's Creed 2, but I've still got Dead Rising 2. I'm never going to play them, but I feel bad deleting them. I really have a problem deleting them. This, I deleted it as soon as I got to the end of the session. We played it for about an hour, and it was like playing GoldenEye back in the day, because I used to know where everyone spawned. So I'd run around levels, as soon as people spawn, pop, run around levels, as soon as you spawn. I mean, literally, my friends would go mental. They're like, what's the point in playing it? And I just thought it was fun running around and popping. And this is what happened to us. I got headshotted with a Spartan laser twice on spawning from a guy on the other side of the map on that massive sand trap map, and I was like, brilliant! Congratulations, this is a lot of fun. It was far less fun than expected, and it just feels old. You know, it was nice to see maps again and be like, oh wow, God, we really did. I've seen this map so many times, but the buttons felt really weird. Loading times were really slow. Getting into a game was slow, and it was just as soon as we got into a game, it was fucking hell on earth. So. Yeah, I've never been happier. I don't need this. Why would you go back? I'm not interested. So that was thank you, Microsoft. Your centerpiece was a lot of shite.
It's crazy. I mean, I've still got it as well. I didn't download it because I actually still have the game, and I saw you were on it, and I was like, I'll dive in. And then you sounded like someone who'd just come back from a war.
No, honestly, we were really. I'm deleting that. When we were going in, we were like, oh God, we've got to re-download the map packs we downloaded to get all the content. Double team on that level. Never. It's just the community is people who've never stopped playing Halo. And
that game's really old as well.
I know, and it does feel old, and it looks kind of old, and the load times are long. I mean, it's just yeah. I was kind of looking forward. Well, I was looking forward to it. And no, thank you.
Sometimes things are best left in the past.
No doubt about it. Someone said to me, "What about Halo 2?" which was definitely the one that we played the most. I was like, after this, I think I'd like to leave that where it,
that needs to stay where it is.
Yeah, I think so.
Although it was fun that time we played it a few years ago, wasn't it?
Was that after they took
the last day?
Oh yeah, but I mean, was it? I can't.
I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was terrible.
Yeah, maybe it was shit all along. Who knew?
Maybe it was. My number 4 is you couldn't get more different to Halo. Really, it's a game called 140 or 140. This, have you heard of this at all?
Nope.
This is a game that's been made by one of the designers of Limbo. This is like a pet project of his and someone else. And it is best way to describe it is a minimalist 2D platformer which is sort of based in music. A music platformer, for want of a better phrase. It looks almost exactly like Thomas Was Alone, but it doesn't play really anything like it. How it works is you're a little square. When you move, you turn into a circle. When you jump, you turn into a triangle. That doesn't actually matter. It seems like that's going to matter, but it doesn't actually matter. And everything in the levels moves in time to the music. So one of the first things you encounter is a moving platform. The music is kind of like a lo-fi, almost trip-hoppy type tune. And so you've got a little moving platform that's on a line, let's say, and it'll go... and so that'll move back and forth in time to the music. It's stuff like that. So you kind of navigate through this fairly simple platform stuff at first to find you're basically trying to find a little ball, and that ball acts as a key. And there's stuff on the floor of certain parts of the level which you put the ball in. It's simpler than I'm making it sound, I'm sure. Quickly, it gets very, very difficult in a really, really clever and almost borderline ingenious way at times. Everything's moving to the music. Every time you put one of those keys in the thing, the whole level changes, and it adds an extra couple of tracks to the music and also a couple of elements to the platforming. And everything starts to build and build and build. And the platforming gets trickier, and the kind of puzzles it throws up, they're more spatial puzzles, platform skill puzzles that it throws up get more complex, and they require more dexterity, and everything about it is just, it couldn't be more up my street. It's all the things that I like about games. You know, stuff going with music, stuff with cool art styles, stuff with tight controls, stuff that's clearly been made with passion and with a vision. And then the game is actually really short. It's probably only an hour long, so it technically probably shouldn't be this high up on my list, but I kind of wanted to talk about it a bit later. And it's 3 levels. Those levels are broken up into sections, like I talked about, and you get the key in it. But they're 3 whole levels, and at the end of each level is what I guess. I mean, I call them bosses, but you could probably just call it a finale, or I don't know. They're not an actual boss that you fight. Each one's completely different of the 3, all of which are genius. I mean, truly brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. The first one is reminiscent of a bullet hell shooter. The second one is like doesn't sound too dissimilar to that pixel game you were talking about. Yeah. And the third one is honestly one of the most challenging. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done in a game, but in a way that's completely fair, and you know exactly what you have to do. But the challenge is so high that I was almost laughing at how difficult it was. But you always knew that if you just concentrated enough, that you'd be able to do it, and eventually I did. Really, just an excellent piece of work. It costs £3.19 on PC. It's also on Mac, and like I said, it is an hour long. And that I thought about it. I was like, that it was quite short. Was it worth the money? And I thought, well, is it worth 69p? And I'm like, it's definitely worth more than 69p. And I thought, well, how about 249? And I was like, do you know what? No, that still feels too cheap. I think they've got the pricing bang on. I think it's $5 in America. I think, yeah, it is only an hour, but I'm very, very glad that I've experienced that hour. Even if I don't go back to it, I'm very glad that as a standalone experience I had it, and I'd highly recommend it to anyone who shares similar gaming sensibilities to me, which, I think by now you know what that sort of thing is.
I mean, shit. What is it called? 140?
Yeah, I think as in BPM.
Fuck, that sounds impossibly good.
Yeah, you'll love it.
Fuck, okay. So it is on Mac?
It's on Mac. It will definitely run on your Mac, and it takes an hour.
I love that already. Right, that is written down. Shit, 140. That sounds too good to be true.
I played it on a pad. It'd definitely be easier on a pad, but I'm sure you can just do it on keys. It just requires jump and thing. But it's just one of those games where every minute or so a new idea comes in, and you're like, brilliant, new idea, brilliant. Sometimes it's a little bit frustrating because it is a hard game, but there's almost nothing. I don't really have anything negative to say about it. I'm glad I didn't have to attach a score to it or anything like that, because fuck knows. But if you like that type of thing, games, if you like the sound of it, then you'll like it. Does that make sense? That's a stupid sentence, but you probably know from what I'm saying. I know you'll like it, and I know there's a certain type of person who'll fucking hate it, but they would probably rather play like a sprawling JRPG or something like that. Right. Not that the two are mutually exclusive. I'm going to stop talking. I'm rambling.
Okay, shit. I mean, I will have played that before next week. Awesome.
And it's by the fucking designer of Limbo, so you can talk about your credentials.
Yeah, really. Wicked. Okay, wicked. All right. Well, my number 3, I won't speak about it for very long. It's the Battlefield 4 beta. It closed yesterday. We played a little bit. We finally got a little bit of time on Obliteration mode, which they rolled out with a lot of noise. Their Twitter account was going mental, and everyone was talking about it. Obliteration mode is now live on the beta. In order to find it on the Xbox 360, you had to search Obliteration in the server browser, but whenever you search anything in the server browser, it would always say 0 players. No matter what you were searching for, even if you searched nothing, every server 0 players. So it looked like all of the servers were dead. So it was pot luck. When you jumped into one, a lot of the time there would be no people in it. So you had to keep trying and hope that you happened upon one and then favourite it in order to play it. It was like they didn't want you to play the mode.
Yeah, that's good.
It's too early to tell. Obviously, it's a beta, but I don't think this mode works on this map, and it was kind of frustrating and boring at the same time, because I think I tried to explain it last week, but it did work the way I thought it would. There's a bomb, and it spawns somewhere randomly, and then teams rush to get the bomb, and then each team has 3 points on the other side. Basically, because the map's split in half with skyscrapers on either side and then water, what each team would do is put spawn beacons on top of the skyscrapers. The bomb would always spawn in the middle, and it would just be a kill fest for about 15-20 minutes, and then the game would end. Occasionally, someone would manage to get get one of the objectives, but it was so difficult to do that because the map's not. The map was clearly not made for it. There's not many sneaky routes around and stuff like that. It was just like golf in the middle where people were killing each other, and then there'd be a bomb, and then you'd kill everybody there, and then you jump down and your team would get the bomb, and then you'd instantly be killed by the people who were spawning right there. It didn't work. It didn't work. The Batter's beta. I'm looking forward to playing the full game at the end of the month. My friends have made me a little bit paranoid because although the stuff they're saying is exactly the stuff they said when the Battlefield 3 beta came along, they've I don't know. I want to, but I don't know. It's making me more paranoid that they may have fucked up a couple of things, but I'm sure that's wrong. It's going to be great.
My number 3 is Battlefield 3. Weirdly, I tried to play the Battlefield 4 beta on PC, but for some reason it didn't work. Downloaded the whole thing, got the server browser up, kept trying to connect, and it would just sit on a black screen. You could hear the game going on in the background, but it wouldn't connect. And I checked online, and it was a really common problem, so it was frustrating. But then I remembered that I'd bought Battlefield 3 in that amazing Humble bundle thing. For like nothing, basically. So I downloaded that, all 19 fucking gigs of it, and put it on, and I was amazed. For some reason, I just assumed that it wouldn't run very well on my PC, which is stupid because the PC was quite expensive and it should run, and it did, on almost the highest settings. And good God, that is what I'm talking about. I can't believe how good it looks. Even though it's a 2-year-old game, but it looks amazing. Genuinely one of the best looking games I've played. And yeah, I played. I just got completely sucked into playing online. It was sucked because everybody's, like you say, rank 99, rank 100, rank 91. I was rank 1 because obviously this is a completely new account. It's not even my middle standard guy on Xbox. So I mean, I didn't really stand much of a hope unless I managed to get the jump on someone. But still, I kind of hung back and played as a medic, and I was having fun playing those maps. Looking that good with 64 players instead of 32 is outstanding, and I just really enjoyed it. It was like playing the game that I've played so far, but every time you turn a corner, you're like, wow, so this is what this is supposed to look like. And we played Grand Bazaar, and the rain is amazing, and then you go around, the bit in Grand Bazaar, it's the tunnel, basically, that goes between, you always end up having a shootout at either ends of the tunnel, then it comes out into, like, the main square bit.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, and that, on Xbox, is just like a fairly bland tunnel. You don't really think you're thinking about the fight, but this time it's like this sort of glowing golden thing. Looks like you could actually be there. Genuinely, it just made me think, I'm now really excited for Battlefield 4. The beta on 360 kind of did so little for me because I was like, I've played this before and it looks so shit, but now with that level of fidelity, I'm very excited for it. I don't know whether I'll play on PC or PS4, probably PS4, just because I was actually trying to play with the pad on PC.
Pointless, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, and it was ignorant of me to do so, but the thing is, I'm good enough to play a single-player game on mouse and keyboard, but multiplayer, I'm just not good enough. My left hand is not good enough at, because you've got the crouch on one key, haven't you, run on another, and you're using your little finger to move between. My left hand just doesn't have the muscle memory. So if I could, it would take probably 20 hours to get that sort of muscle memory of playing. I ain't going to do that. Yeah. So that's why I'll probably play on PS4. But it was amazing to see it like that. I was like, fucking hell, I've been playing this. I've played this game for hours and hours and hours. Not as many as you, but still hours and hours. And it's like, damn, that's what it actually looks like. It's like putting glasses on or something.
I played it on my brother's PC and it didn't leave a massive impression, but I don't know what the specs were. I don't know how good his computer is. It can't have been very good. Genuinely,
I put it on the very, very, very ultra settings and it kind of killed the frame rate a little bit. It wasn't actually that much worse than it is on 360, but it wasn't great, especially in the wide open areas, but it looked ridiculous. And then I just knocked a couple of things down as I've learned over the year or so that I've had the PC all less time in it. What things you need less than others. There's all these complicated jargon things, but I've learned what they are. It got to the point where it was looking rather well and playing rather well. Looking rather well? Fucking hell. Too much pain.
Good. Oh, well, play batters. That's good. That's good news.
Yeah, it says I can't play it with any of you fuckers.
You need to pick up an Xbox One, boy. You'll be all right.
Too expense.
Okay, my number 2 is Beyond Two Souls on the PlayStation 3.
Okay.
I planned to finish it, but I had.
Oh, of course, you hadn't finished it. Sorry.
No, I must be approaching the finale. First of all, I forgot to mention this. I don't think you mentioned it either. For a game that looks as amazing as it does, the loading times aren't very long, and there's no install required. So normally that's a big part of the big pain in the arse with PS4, PS3 games is that you have to install them, or there's massive load times, and this doesn't really have any of that. I still think it's really, really good. I mean, I've been hearing noise that apparently it really goes off the rails at the end. It's being said by multiple people, and I don't think I've got to that point yet because that hasn't happened. Yeah, I still think it's really terrific and truly thought-provoking. I'm not. I've been thinking about it all week because basically in the game there are situations. There's a series of situations that you're put in as Jodie, and then your knee-jerk reaction, rightly, is that she's immediately in jeopardy. They're scenarios that you've seen in many other places, and you instantaneously think she's not safe. The thing is, the game allows you to completely walk away from those situations, and I always did. There's a bit where you can literally sum up a situation and then walk out the door. I did that. There was another situation where I ignored a massive problem, literally grabbed a pillow, stuck it on my head, went to sleep, and that was the end. So you can, all of these times when you think she's in jeopardy, you can pull her out. After a while, I started to think, I don't know whether if I paid £40 for this, I'm kind of. It kind of asks you: do you want the sort of razzmatazz and the? Do you want to keep her safe, or do you want like the kind of action game? Because stuff happens, I've no doubt, in those sequences. Yeah. But I was walking away from them. I suppose that's a testament to how good Ellen Page is and how actually good I think the script is. I don't think it's amazing or anything, but I think it does, at least as far as I've gotten, is actually very, very effective. But after I walked out of a situation for the third time or backed away from something, I thought, I'm not really getting my £40 worth of action game here. It's just weird because it speaks very well of the game. But I suppose I think because things can be so different like that, I suppose it's designed really to be played more than one time. Yeah. So that was really interesting. I was like, this is a really cool idea to try and test you about how much you care about this character, but at the same time, it's kind of denying you the game if you really want to put her out of trouble. But yeah, I still think it's really. I really, really like it. I think if you're curious, you should. I mean, I didn't play the demo, so I don't know how well that conveys what the game is. Do you know what part of the game it is?
No, I didn't play the demo. No, I'd already finished the game at the time the demo came out.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'd already started it by the time it came out. So yeah, it was pointless for me to look into that. But yeah. I think there's been, the reviews have been quite negative. Again, a lot of people said they found the story boring. I haven't found that in the slightest. I don't know. It's just a shame. I think some people might be dissuaded from playing it when they might know deep down it's for them. And I think it's a shame. And I'll tell you what, I'm getting really bored with the way David Cage gets. It's just it's just what people do.
Yeah, that's tedious.
Yeah, it really is. I mean,
Truly.
Just snide remark. I mean, sincerity has always been easy to mock, and it's a shame. But it's just such a shame that they leap. I mean, he is the most sincere human being that's ever walked the earth. But the fact that people just leap on him and give him and just diss him and berate him endlessly, as if like it's funny to do. I don't really understand. It's boring. It's just like, have we not got beyond this? And especially when it's done by people who, oh yeah, sorry, that was not intentional, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's a really solid game. I hope it doesn't go as bad as some people have said it does in the final act.
For me, it does lose it towards the end a little bit. It depends how. I was more invested in the character and specific scenes, and other times I'll go, no, that wasn't so good. But then you're on to the next one, and it wasn't. There at no point was I really expecting it to be. I said this last week. I knew pretty early on within the game that it wasn't going to be a truly amazing, life-changing story for me. It was going to be kind of sci-fi hokum, but there's parts about it that are done really, really well. Mainly stuff to do with her character and in the way that you can kind of affect those individual scenes. I'm absolutely fine with people liking the game a lot less than me. In fact, that's good in terms of the fact that it can be polarising and interesting discussion could be had. I very much reject the idea of someone who hates the game or hasn't played it, and I'm not talking about anyone specific because I don't want to talk about that guy ever again in my life. But then says that people who do enjoy it are wrong or stupid or something like that, or don't understand writing or anything like that. That's upsetting, and it is distressing and not distressing. It's tedious to hear people, like you say, to talk about David Cage like that and say he's a shit writer and all this sort of stuff, because he's a flawed writer, definitely, but I think that he's also incredibly skilled and ambitious in so many ways. You know, he's doing stuff that, quite simply, other people have never really done before.
Yeah.
And less so now because other games are, I mean, you can argue stuff like The Walking Dead is kind of stepped into that world as well, but those games are much shorter and done in a different way, and I still think what he's doing on this scale with this sort of budget, it's really impressive. I'm just really happy that he is able to do this and that these games can exist. And you know, I don't understand why everyone gets so affronted by him. I don't think he's out there saying that all games, maybe they just misinterpret the way he is, but I think when he talks, he's more talking about the games that he wants to make, and maybe the choice of words that he uses makes it sound like he thinks all games should be like this or all games are failing or something, but I genuinely don't think that he actually thinks like that. He's just trying to convey his passion for what he wants to make, and that's a good thing, man. There's enough fucking boring games out there, and even good games with good mechanics that are boring thematically, and we've got one guy with one studio doing this type of game, really. Why can't he be allowed to do that without people who call themselves writers being snide about his writing? And, you know, have a look at your own writings. Are you trying to improve as a writer? I don't know. If you're spending all your time bitching.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're trying to improve your own craft.
Yeah,
I don't think you are.
Yeah, it is irritating. I just think it's how widespread it is. It's how everyone's really, really
It's easy. It's just easy, isn't it? It's easy. It's just an easy fucking gag.
But because I think he's so sincere, and people see that as some kind of weakness, or that he's deluded, or something, or that he's full of himself. I don't, I was never going to mention this, but for reasons that are too complicated to go into, a couple of years ago, or maybe no, it's when Heavy Rain came out. I ended up sitting for 40 minutes by a fireside in a hotel with David Cage, just chatting, and he is incredibly sound, but also unbelievably humble. And the suggestion that he's somehow this egomaniac who's kind of so full of his own fucking chutzpah, I suppose you'd call it, it's just not true. So I mean, I suppose I'm biased because I met the guy and really, really liked him, but it is fucking boring having him as a punch bag.
But if you're talking about his character, then that doesn't make you biased. That just makes you
I suppose
probably a bit more of an authority on it.
Well, I don't know. People try to outdo each other by having pops at him, and I'm like, what is this? I don't agree with any of that anyway. And incidentally, I do think, in terms, if you are going to judge his writing very harshly, I think this is a much better written thing than Heavy Rain was, primarily because I think it's more focused, and there is a kind of texture to it, and there is a real difference considering how the story jumps around to Jodie at these different ages. It does kind of reflect that in the script. I don't know. It's a shame. If I really think this deserves to sell, I hope it makes its budget back, and I hope David Cage continues to keep doing what he does. Because if you think you might like it, take a punt on it. I really think it's really exceptionally good, and I just hope it doesn't go to shit at the end.
I totally agree with what you say. Do take a punt. If you thought that you were going to like it and all the bad reviews came out, I think you might still like it. I've been reading on forums, just the general public's impression, and it is generally a lot more positive than the majority of reviews that have come out. It's just one of those situations. Sometimes that happens the other way around, but there are plenty of people who are enjoying the game a lot. That's all I'll say.
Well, good. And also, if you love your PlayStation 3, it's a great demonstration of what the machine can still pull off.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, that game. I'm just happy it exists.
Yeah, me too.
My number 2 is another game I'm happy exists, and a game that I would have known nothing about if it wasn't for, I believe, your other half, your fine lady, is Smule or whatever the fuck you call it, Magic Piano on both iPhone and iPad. A quite fantastic rhythm action game that I got completely engrossed in throughout the week and have played to death, really. It is, it's a simple game. You play piano cover versions of famous songs. On the easiest setting, I think you have to use 2 fingers together. On the medium setting, it's 3 fingers together. On the harder setting, it's 4 fingers together. Dots come down the screen. and you press the bottom of the screen as they come to the bottom of the screen. But it's not like Guitar Hero or any of those types of games where the game moves at a constant rhythm. You kind of control the rhythm yourself. And at first I found that immensely confusing. Yeah. But after a while you just get a feel of when you're supposed to press the buttons, and it does allow you to play at a slower tempo or a slightly faster tempo, depending on your mood, how difficult you're finding it, all sorts of different things. Occasionally that can fall apart when you don't know the song that well, but if it's a song you do know well, it works fine, and it just takes a bit of time. It's just a really good game. I was playing it on the phone, and the phone's probably not big enough to play it. I was still really enjoying it, but there are times where you're asked to, say, press 3 fingers down for a chord, and then it will move one of those dots for the next chord that comes up to the left. But because the phone's not big enough, you basically can just keep jabbing it with 3 fucking Homer Simpson fingers, and it works fine. But when I put it on the iPad, it just opened it out to what the game's actually supposed to be, and it's a very tactile and enjoyable rhythm action game, certainly in like the kind of top class of that sort of thing. And one thing you did say about it last week was how these types of games, and especially with the way that the songs are broken down into just piano here, how interesting some of the compositions are of modern pop songs. Yeah. It did highlight stuff like there's a couple of Rihanna songs which are actually really nice pieces of music. The Blink-182 songs, like you said, both of them that are on there they're really good. And even some stupid stuff like it's got "I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight" by Cutting Crew, and that's a brilliant piece of music to play in this game. Truly, it also highlights that both Gangnam Style and "Boyfriend" by Justin Bieber are fucking terrible pieces of music. It's fine to listen to, you like what you like, but in terms of construction, they are limited, to say the least. And what I also really love about the game is that the pay model. I wish that Rock Band had this. Yeah. Basically, you can pay $1.99 for a week. I think it's $5.99 for a month, or 27 quid for the year, and it opens up the entire library. And that's nearly 400 songs on this game. And so I just dropped the 2 quid for the week, and it's every fucking song. It's every song you can just play. They download within a second, and then you can just play them. So I was just basically going through almost every single pop song, every single rock song that's on there, and just enjoying them. I'm not even really chasing high scores at the moment. It's just fun to hear what the versions are going to sound like, to see if they're fun to play. I think it's great, and I love that pay model. It's great game.
Yeah, when you texted me in the week and said this is fucking brilliant, I was like, I thought you were taking the piss at first, but then I went back to it, and I had a few more goes. I still don't quite understand. Do you understand what that ghosty sort of pathway is? Does it just show you where the next notes are coming?
What ghosty pathway?
There's this. I didn't understand this either. My girlfriend was like, "Look, if you look, you can it kind of suggests where you. If it's primarily if you're playing a song that you don't know very well, where." I don't know. It's kind of mystified me. I think it sort of shows you where to move your fingers to before you have to do it. So it's almost
as the dots come down.
It's kind of after the dots come down. It kind of.
Oh, and it splits out into the 3 little things.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's just where to put your fingers.
I don't know. It didn't make any sense to me. But I had another couple of goes. You are so right. The one that really made my jaw drop was like, Gangnam Style is such a terrible heap of shit. It's not even. It doesn't even have a tune, really.
It doesn't.
I was playing.
That's the worst one.
Yeah, I mean, it really was crap. But I was playing Freebird by Linear Skinny, which is a song I've always absolutely hated. But as I was playing it, I was like, "Wow, this is actually this actually sounds quite pleasant." You know, I was liking it just as a song, as a tune, I should say. But I thought I was nailing it, and then I turned, and my girlfriend had a pillow over her face to stop her, so I couldn't hear her laughing. But then she's getting ridiculous high scores on all the hard stuff. But I fundamentally I don't quite understand it, which is annoying because it's the kind of thing that I would normally absolutely love. But yeah,
it might be a case of she's that good, and you're trying to watch her play, and I just went from being basically useless at it to being probably all right at it just on my own without. If you're trying to emulate someone who's playing at a high level and you're still doing plank, plonk, plank, 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 it might be a bit frustrating.
Maybe that's it. I don't know.
I don't know. I know you'd be good at it once you get your head around it.
It's free. The actual core app is free, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, and you get. I think you get about 10 songs with stuff like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and things like that, and then it has a kind of very slow, grindy, free-to-play thing to unlock one song at a time. But yeah, you can buy individual songs. But when I saw that VIP, it's called the VIP pass, and I figured it was going to be really expensive. But it's like $1.99 for the week for all that. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Smule. And there's other. Have you tried any of the other ones?
No, I was going to, but I thought I might save it. There's the guitar one and the karaoke one. I don't think I'll do that, but I might try the guitar one.
Apparently, the karaoke one's really taking off. And there's something. I was only half listening because we were in the middle of doing something. But she said that I think there's an app where you can put all of the elements together. So someone who's done a tune on their piano, you put it in with a guitar tune, and then someone karaoke's over the top of it, and that's really popular.
Oh, no way.
It's something. I mean, it sounded great for what I heard of it. But yeah, Smule, Smule. If you like Bimani games of any kind, yeah, have a look.
Do.
Well, then our number ones are the same then.
Yes, Grand Theft Auto, again, apologies.
Yeah. Grand Theft Auto Online, I mean, I haven't played any more of the campaign because I've been playing online so much. I think we kind of said last week that it's a lot better if you ignore... I mean, one of my worries was last week, when I was kind of pissed off that the whole thing seemed to be death matches and... races. Parachuting's cool though, but very, very, very kind of much the kind of thing that I didn't really was not really interested in doing. And it's all about getting text messages and ringing people and doing jobs with your friends. That's what it's all about. It's tremendous fun. It is just. I mean, it really is spectacularly good fun when you're doing jobs together, sort of co-op. One problem, and I don't know how they're going to remedy this, is that obviously most people are playing with friends, so when they get one of those jobs through, they select that they want to host it, they don't want to join it because they want all their friends with them. Because everyone's doing that, a lot of the time no one joins the games we set up. So I think they need to find a way to sort of merge people into other... Have you found that at all? Yeah,
I mean, occasionally they'll fill up with randoms, but most of the time it's just been the one or two people that I'm playing with.
Yeah, because it does send a text message out to everyone that's in your online world at the time.
Yeah,
it doesn't really. There doesn't seem to be that many takers. So yeah, but doing missions is just it's. I mean, they're very basic. Go here, kill a bunch of guys, nick a car. I mean, at the stage I'm at, I'm like ranked 19 or something.
Yeah.
At this point, the missions aren't brilliant, but you just it's like everything else. You make your own fun, and you just end up with war stories after doing the most simplest of things.
Yeah, I mean, I do really enjoy those jobs, and I think they're going to get better as you get ranked up. Because I've been reading on forums and stuff about some of the higher ranked missions. Do sound fun, but where I've had the most fun, definitely, easily, is in the free roam mode. As you rank up, more stuff becomes available, so eventually quite soon you can start putting bounties on people. Then I think armoured cars come in. I'm seeing people initiating gang attacks. I don't know what that means yet because I haven't ranked up high enough, but it feels like the free roam mode starts to fill out as you play it more. But I just went on, I think it was maybe Sunday night, me and my brother just hooked up on there and just fucked about in the free roam mode for about 3 hours without doing any jobs, any missions, just making our own fun, weren't worrying about money or anything like that. And honestly, we had one of the best online things that's ever happened. I've been waiting to tell this story. Basically, we found a helicopter and we both jumped in the same helicopter. We've been pissing about for about 2 hours at this point, having fun anyway. And we found out once you're in a helicopter with two people, one can activate a camera and they can, from the sky, tag people like Battlefield style. They can spot other people in the map and it'll put a waypoint on them. So we were doing that, and then as we were pissing about from the skies trying to freak people out, someone put a $9,000 bounty on one of the people in the game. So we're like, okay, we can be fucking helicopter bounty hunters and chase this guy down. So we found him quite quickly using this camera and just started chasing him around the map, and he dived straight into the mod shop to hide. So my brother, who's a decent pilot, lowered the helicopter to about 4 foot off the ground and was just hovering outside the garage door, which must have looked pretty terrifying when he came back out. He came back out, saw us, fucking freaked out and bolted for a bike that was behind us, managed to get on the bike. We went back up into the sky. And he started barreling down the road at 100 and whatever miles an hour on a bike. And we were chasing him across the city in a helicopter while I was firing at him with a pistol. That was fucking amazing. And then I managed to actually shoot him with the pistol from the sky. He scatters about the place, $9,000 in the bank, like truly amazing moment. And how do we celebrate? By taking the helicopter as high as possible, While High Love by Steve Winwood played, all the way above the clouds to the very highest point, which must have taken basically the whole song, and then both dived out at the same time. Fell to earth, parachuted, landed on the Ferris wheel together, and then both fell off the Ferris wheel at the same time. And at that point, I was like, "This is one of the greatest games ever.
Yeah.
One of the most amazing online half an hours I've ever had." And yeah, all in that free roam mode. I kind of wish more of the job stuff, or there was just a bit more to do in there, because that's where that's where the real action happens, where the real madness can happen. And if there was more ways of earning within there, it'd be less. Because it's frustrating when you're sitting in lobbies and it doesn't work, and then everyone gets kicked out into a different server and you have to rejoin. I mean, all that stuff's you're just distracting from your own fun, really. But when it's like that, that's the game that I always wanted to play, and yeah, just tremendous.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that the free roam areas they allow for more players in each one, because I think that's a problem as well. It's only like, how many is it, 16?
It's 16, yeah. The map's so big it could do with 32, definitely.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that happens somewhere down the line. But yeah, I mean, free roam is just, that's where... and I love the way that if you kill someone, they spawn very close to you. So if you're trying to round up your friends or do anything, you have to like, that guy's coming after me again, fucking hell. Yeah, I mean, it really is just so brilliant when you... pissing around in car. I mean, the thing is that happened to me is me and Zeno were on a job and we were driving along. And the other thing, brilliant thing is that if your passenger sets a waypoint, you can see it as well. Yeah. So someone can actually be your navigator. Absolutely superb. But yeah, we were driving along hammering it on the freeway, going to a job, and I saw my car. I was like, "Fuck, my car!" So we stopped because it's when you trash it and then you call the insurance people, they put it outside a showroom sometimes. I think. But anyway, I jumped off the freeway onto this building thinking I was being clever, and then the building was too high, so I had to try and get down. Basically, that scenario turned into over an hour of us taking turns to stand on the top of this building and then drive at high speed past, and then just step off and one of them try and land in the passenger seat over convertible. And we did that for an hour. Yeah. Exactly. I was like, that's so much fun. They just did not get boring. I think we had to go to bed because we were too knackered. Otherwise, we would have been up all night doing just that. The only thing I've told you about this, but I'm starting to worry about hackers, because there was a situation yesterday where I was in free roam mode in where you pay $100 and you can't be killed.
Yeah, the passive mode. Passive
mode, that's it. Being headshotted every time I spawned by some guy called Raven. Something Raven. And he can't possibly... I mean, it was like he was glitching, and then when I checked recent players, he wasn't on the list, so it just seemed a bit suspicious. So that was a shame. I hope that doesn't start happening more and more. But have you tried arm wrestling in the game?
No, actually, no, I haven't.
Yeah, don't bother. It's just you basically the game's basically asking you to break your own thumbsticks off your pad, because you have to thumb waggle. But the only way to do it effectively is to take it in your hands and really try and snap it off, which you don't want to do. No. Yeah, hopefully all the problem. I mean, the most significant problem is if you try and join someone and it tells you can't join them, it will go to the trouble of setting you up an empty game, and that's ridiculous, because that's not what you want. But the game is absolutely astounding, and I can't wait to see what else is in store, because it is just. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, it's got to be the game of the year, isn't it?
It's going to be very difficult for anything else to be.
Yeah.
I played a bit of single player as well. I had to kind of catch myself up, because I had the bug. I've talked about it before, where I lost all this progress, lost about 20% worth of progress. So I've basically caught myself up in the main missions now, and I don't think I'm going to redo a lot of the side stuff that I had done, because I don't really see the point. Yeah. And then, to kind of celebrate catching up with myself for some reason, I just decided to take a walk with Franklin. A mission had ended and my car wasn't there, so I just walked out, and I was in basically the area where he's from. It's like the sort of downtown Los Santos, and I just walked, not ran, just literally walked around the streets, and it actually kind of blew my mind, because when you listen to the city, when you're not got the music on or the car engine or anything like that, the sound design is just unbelievable. Just the distant honks and screeches of brakes and things like that. And I walked past the church, and it was 6 a.m. and the bells started ringing in the church. That was amazing. And then I walked up to a bus stop, and a guy was like, "Hey, Franklin, what's up?" And I was like, "What? How the hell did that happen?" So just walking around, I could not believe the amount of detail. I was just taking it as slowly as I possibly could. I would highly recommend, if you've got the game and you haven't done this, if you've just been rattling through it or driving at high speed, just stop, especially in a densely populated area, and just walk and just see how the people react to you. Maybe you can press right on the D-pad to talk to people and have kind of funny, stilted conversations, which can lead to reactions, can sometimes lead to fights, people running away, all sorts of funny things. There was like a guy got fucking murdered in the street in front of me as it happened. That's happened in previous GTA games, but it just felt more real here. And yeah, the detail, I cannot believe that it's more detailed than GTA 4 and the map is so much bigger. It's just, it's mind-blowing. I don't understand how it got made.
Yeah.
And then, oh yeah, that's what happened. Just one quick story before the end. At the end of this walk, I decided to climb up to the top of a building, and I'm basically in the hood here, and I had a sniper rifle, so I just pulled out my sniper rifle, and there was this lone fat lady walking along the street, nobody else around, and I just zeroed in on her head, zoomed in, and just waited a minute, and then I popped her, and the way she just fell to the ground was like, oh shit, that just looked real. That was just really horrible, and like nobody even reacted because no one was that near, and then she was just dead on the street, and I was like, fuck, that's horrible. I pulled the scope up a little bit, and there's a hold-up happening outside a fucking convenience store in front of it. And so there's two guys holding up the guy in front of the shop. This isn't online, by the way. This is offline. And I was like, that's amazing. So I shot the guy that was being held up just to see what would happen. The robbers freaked out, started running away. One of them started firing a shot. And then the woman, who was also there, who was being held up, stopped, looked around, pulled out her phone and took a photo of the dead body. This is all... I mean... How have you made this game?
Yeah.
I know it's made by 1 billion people for $1 billion or whatever, but how is this the same game where you can fly up in the sky and see everything as a dot, or fly all the way out to so far out into the sea that you can't even see the map? I don't understand. It's like it's voodoo or something.
Yeah. I do know what you mean. I haven't done that walking around thing. My favourite interaction with someone in the street, though, is when I was just standing on the corner and this guy in a suit was strutting really quickly like he was late for a meeting. So I stood in his path and I pressed like left trigger and I got into like the combat stance like I was going to fight him. And he just brushed past me, put his hand up and went, I apologise. And that's a favourite thing I have. But I will do that. I will just have a wander because it is mind-blowing. Exactly.
Yeah, do. Definitely do. Just to listen to it as much as anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. Damn. It's a hell of a game.
It's just incredible. Yeah. The bug with the whole bollocks with the online for the first couple of days, and then the bug that lost my progress to put a sour taste in my mouth. But that walk and then that sniper incident just kind of restored the faith.
Yeah. God. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that is us done. Thank you very much for listening. As usual, check out Don't Bother with Facebook. Why would you? We're on Twitter, YouTube. Yeah, check out our YouTube channel. That'd be great. And I think that's it.
Yeah. If you want to actually check out the YouTube channel, it's Chet and John on YouTube. Just Google Chet and John. Drop a like on some of the videos if you like them. Hit the subscribe button if you like it. Like we keep saying, it's this kind of situation. Like the iTunes reviews, which really help. Like the game recommendations on Twitter, which really, really help. Just adding up those little numbers here and there on the different things that we're doing just helps us get more traction, which helps us get more coverage, which helps the pod, and it's just everything grows and gets better. So we really appreciate anybody that's ever dropped a review or said anything to us ever on Twitter, or done anything, or ever talked about the pod to a friend or anything like that. Honestly, that's ridiculous that people would do that about a couple of idiots like us just talking about video games. So thank you. But if anyone else hasn't done that stuff and feels like doing it, that would be amazing too. So thank you very much.
Yes, no doubt. Thank you very much for listening, and yeah, hopefully see you next week.
Peace.
How does that feel to be the go-to story man in the industry?
Well, I don't feel that way, and actually, you know, I'm just so focused on work on a day-to-day basis and on the current project and the next project, and I never step back and look at myself and look at the past and look at this and that. I just work. But there are more and more people who seem to have built on the seeds that we planted with Indigo Prophecy and Heavy Rain, and that's definitely a good thing. I'm proud of all the games I made, and I'm not saying they're perfect or in any way. I'm just saying they remember me a moment in my life and where I was at the time. And the only thing I'm pretty sure is that I did everything I could on each of them.
Shut the fuck up, you cunt!